as the title says, crime getting better. And you see these headlines that say additional security measures. There have been new governors put in place, and like say that's just used for an example, the 3 different counties that there have been new governors put in place that have implemented new security measures in order to curb crime. Come to Mexico, crime getting better in Mexico. By the way, welcome to our channel. This is Frank and Angie's Retiree Lifestyle at home or abroad. We just can't stop making videos about places, even though our channel's not about places. It's just that you're here and you're surrounded by what's happening here, and it's like, okay, I mean, why not talk about it? And a couple things going on. Inflation's rearing its ugly head in Mexico. Of course, it isn't something that once you hear you have to really read a headline. It's just that once you're here you realize, and it isn't that you have to be here. I've said this before, you don't have to be here to figure this out, but it's like you see these headlines about inflation rearing its ugly head, and they're saying that inflation is now above 7.5% in Mexico, which they're saying is the highest inflation they've had in over 20 years. That's 20 years, that would be 2000. I don't know about that, but apparently the cost of limes has gone sky high now in certain counties. We haven't noticed it here, but it turns out that some shops are raising the cost of tacos because of the cost of the limes going up from...
Hey, you gotta say tacos are a big deal here.
People don't understand when you talk about tacos in Mexico, and by the way, this is in no way a derogatory discussion. We love tacos. We probably, ever since we moved to Mexico, eat tacos at least 3 times a week. Homemade tacos at home, and we love going out for tacos, and we like talking about tacos with Mexicans and making jokes about tacos with Mexicans and laughing with Mexicans about tacos in a good way. So don't take it wrong. But that's good. Incidentally, here's a little tip for you. You've heard of the Big Mac thing where people compare the cost of a Big Mac to kind of gauge the cost of something. Forget that. The cost of a taco. The cost of a taco in the article about inflation was 50 cents, which is being raised to 75 cents. Further south into Mexico, but here in Baja, we're paying $1.25 for tacos. So what does that tell you? To me, that tells you everything. If you extrapolate, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm talking about, the Big Mac effect. Some shops are raising prices on their tacos, and other shops are not giving as many limes with their tacos, whereas you used to get a little bowl full of limes. Now you're only getting half a lime with your taco in some restaurants. Love Mexico, and it's unfortunate with the inflation, but the way I feel about inflation, if you're a long-time person on our channel, you know this about us, but if you're new to the channel, there's something you need to know about inflation, and that is that 90% of the inflationary issues that we encounter when we go abroad anywhere is other foreigners showing up and outbidding each other for everything and just causing price spikes on everything, and we'll leave it at that. By the way, don't come to the border towns. The border towns are suffering, I will say it that way, an unusual amount of inflation. I mean, it is out of hand, and it doesn't matter how small the towns are. You cannot get any property. Not only is the property out of control,
rentals?
the rental prices out of control, but there literally aren't any rentals unless you actually literally pay an arm and a leg.
Well, U.S. prices.
Well, and that's another thing. If you have to pay U.S. prices, which, by the way, people say, you know, the U.S. or U.S. prices, there's no such thing. Big countries like Mexico and the U.S. have different pockets of places, which, by the way, these lime prices are higher only in some counties, not all counties. As I said, here we haven't noticed it. Maybe it'll come later. But the rental situation here is so treacherous. I would not advise. People have said, why don't you talk about rentals? Why don't you this and that? Well, there's a reason that we don't do it. It's because I wouldn't tell my friends to come here, because if they did and they started getting upset about it, they would blame me. You know, because I have to say this and then I'll end it there. The whole time we've been abroad 10 years and we've traveled so many different countries, and you know that we live on a local level everywhere we go, and we even have a membership area that is supportive and shows people how to do it. This has to be the worst rental market, and we've been all over the place, not just little regional areas. This has to be the worst rental market we have ever been in.
It's more expensive here than Puerto Vallarta.
It's not just prices, it's the oppressiveness of the way that rental transactions are conducted. And it's not just a price thing. If it was just a price thing, it would be bad enough for that, but it gets worse. So we'll leave it at that. But on top of all of that, as the title says, crime getting better. And you see these headlines that say additional security measures. There have been new governors put in place, and like say that's just used for an example, the 3 different counties that there have been new governors put in place that have implemented new security measures in order to curb crime, which actually caused higher crime rates than before, and are now experiencing 10% higher murder rates.
Sounds like the U.S.
in the counties where the new governors implemented higher security measures. So things are complicated. To say that things are complicated is an understatement. And you know, as these things go, there's more to it than meets the eye, and there's always more to the story than what you read in the headline. The bottom line is that the crime is actually not going lower. And you see some articles saying that the crime is lower, but then you see articles that say the crime is higher, and so all right, well, I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for coming to the channel, and have a wonderful day.